There's a new player in town called EZsite, so let's test it out, see how it compares to Base44 and Bolt.New. So the best way to actually see what this tool is all about is just by testing it out. So this is the tool, it's called EZsite, right? So it looks a little bit similar to many of the other tools like Bolt and Lovable and Base44, all those good tools. But you can see here there's actually an image, so you can actually upload an image and just get started with an image, or even add your own assets here. So you can add your own images or videos, and custom domains and custom knowledge to actually start your project, which I like. There are quite a lot of features in this that make it easier. So if you are struggling with some aspects of using Bolt.New and Lovable, then this could be a good tool for you. So the idea that I just thought I'd come up with is where you can just create a story from your own images. I don't know, I'm not going to do anything really with this, but just for an idea, we can start with this. So let's share this and we'll test it out in Bolt and Base44, right? Seeing that we have this feature, actually, it would be cool to add my assets here, because adding an image would be super important, right? So let's add the image here. Okay, so I added an image of me in Vietnam. So let's add that to our files, right? So think that's been added. Okay, and let's just put in everything that I did with ChatGPT to give us the storyline, right? So let's do this in all three apps and we'll see what we got out. So here it is in EZsite. Let's do it with Bolt, and let's do it with Base44. Okay, so while these are building, let's talk a little bit about the price. So they've gone with the pricing plan that's similar to Lovable, which is this messages, right? So 5 messages per day, up to 30 per month, right? That's similar enough to Lovable. You have 5 free messages. Bolt and other ones use tokens, right? So it's kind of like the more complex your prompt will, the actions will take. It's kind of harder to understand the pricing model, but I found the pricing with Bolt to be very good. I don't really like this 5 messages, because sometimes you might just want to tweak a little button and then you're like, oh no, it's like I used up one of my messages, right? I don't really like this message this way as much. But one of the cool things here is that instead of using Supabase, they have your own little database, right? So that's something I've been finding out using Supabase, is that, yeah, the costs are adding up quickly. I'm already at like $45-50 a month with Supabase for my projects. So yeah, I'm not too happy about that. So this will be super interesting. Website hosting, you get your custom domain with the $19. Okay, I would like that to be free, but anyway, that I think that's valuable, right? And then 10,000. So yeah, you're really scaling here. You can do 3 EZsite hosting, so they will host for you as well. So let's check on how we're getting on. We're still going with the coding with EZsite. We have our Bolt one, right? It's just letting an image. It's very simple so far, but anyway. And Base44 is also very simple. Okay, must be the prompt that I used, but it seems pretty cool. Okay, so EZsite is still building, so it's building something much more complex, it seems, than Bolt.New and Base44. And while that's loading here, check out my course, Bolt.New course, right? So if you are having any difficulties with Bolt.New, or you want to see like the full potential of a tool like this, I've been building out these. I just finished this one actually at the time of recording. So all of these are live, right? So these are live builds from start to finish. That's the way I'm doing the course, because I think that's a good way to see how to actually do things from the start to the finish. So check that out in the description. Let's see what we have here. So StorySnap is ready. Okay, it does look very similar to the other one. We have an about page as well, how it works. So that's pretty cool. I like that. It's a little bit more complicated, but we didn't get our image, but that's fine. Let's add our image here and see how it works. Okay, so we got it. So we added our image and it just automatically gave this. So would I say it works? I like that. I wanted to chat with it to change it. This could be used for social media or something like that. But this is obviously not my image, so we have to actually build out the API. Let's see what happens with the other tools. Okay, I also got my image here, and yeah, not really. Okay, it's just it's just a placeholder for now. That's fine, but it works. Let's see, Base44. Okay, so I got a much bigger story here. Oh, this is actually right, because it was a rooftop restaurant. That's pretty amazing. So this is actually working. I'm very impressed now with this. That is amazing. Got a whole little story. That's very interesting, right? So one of the cool things about Base44 is this workspace, right? So you can add analytics really want that, right? So one person has looked at my app so far. You can add some security, payments, right? The idea is that one click, right? And user authentication for different people to use the apps that you're creating. So I did find it that you have to pay to actually, use a lot of this stuff, but definitely if you're struggling, it's worth checking out. So let's go into more EZsite, because actually they have this really cool stuff as well. So what we saw here is like you can add a custom knowledge base, you can add your assets, right? So imagine sometimes it's difficult to add like a video to your Bolt.New site or Lovable site. So you can just add a video here. You can add a custom domain, right? And I've been looking into this, and yeah, you can choose to host it like outside of EZsite, or they host it for you as well. It's also integrated with Netlify, so that's pretty cool. You can just add a chatbot to the website, right? Super cool. A webhook if you want to connect to other automations and other services. So they have SEO, right? And this isn't so good on the free plan, the SEO, because they do have this comes up, and this is a problem that I have in Bolt and other tools as well. We get like a kind of a title and a description, but then after that it gets a little bit lost about what the actual website is about. I'm talking about Google or ChatGPT. But I really like these integrations, right, with Resend and stuff like that, and then a database, right, so you can actually store stuff. So you can have your own EZsite database, or you can use a Supabase integration. So really cool features. So it's pretty cool. We can actually chat with our story here. But I guess what we really want is for it to work. Okay, so I just asked to add the functionality from an image to be read with OCR technology so that a good description can be generated. I don't mind this, to be honest, because really we do want to be going feature by feature, right? And I want to store my API key securely. Okay, so they do have tons of templates as well. So this is a really cool thing, because you can just duplicate any of these websites that you like. So you can have a look through and it's like, okay, this is a pretty cool website. I can just duplicate it and start with that. There's tons of them here. So maybe if you're in education, I hope they'll keep going. So flashcards, learning tool. So I guess they're going to save some of the best ones that they make, and you can actually just use these in your own project. So I made like a lovable alternative, right? It doesn't actually work, but it's a cool little website that I can get started with. It's cool that we can just get these things ready to go and ready to use. Okay, so I ran out of free messages on the free plan, but I guess you could get this to work, as I'm trying to do something that I've never actually done before. I'm quite impressed that Base was actually able to do that, but you can go into the code, right, and change things in here. Another cool feature is like you can edit here, so you can just click that edit button and just change whatever the text is. I like that storyboard or whatever you want to change. Like that's a pretty cool feature. You can also check your admin, so you can check how many people are there and analytics and all that stuff. You can duplicate it, so you can start again. So tons of really interesting features that are not in other tools. I think Base 44 is also really good for beginners. I think these two are probably the best for beginners, especially because it just works straight away. I thought that was amazing, but the prices do add up, right? And Bolt is great for, just for doing tons and tons of different types of websites. It's probably a little bit more of a learning curve, I would say. I also found a new one called Alpha. So this is what it looks like. This is one of the templates. I'll leave links to all these down below. And this one actually you can create like a Figma board. So if you want to like really get your design going, and it also has APIs where you can just add specific functions to APIs. So that's pretty interesting as well. But overall, I think all of these are good for different reasons. Probably if you want to just get going fast, is probably Base 44. I really like all of their features here. And EZsite is also a pretty cool tool for building, your first little AI SaaS, something like that. I think that would be pretty good, because with Bolt things can get complicated quite fast, right? So I think Bolt is really good for many projects, but maybe it is a bit more complicated to make AI SaaS if you're not familiar with development, especially with big projects. Sorry. So that's it. If you do want to check out the Bolt.New course, I'm building things every week and live videos that you can watch. Check out the link here. I'll leave it down below, and you can see all the stuff that we're building together. Thanks for watching.